Hey there, I'm Kayla June Kelly Cooley. I'm the developer of Somatic Groundwork, and today I'd like to invite you into a practice with me about sensing through your fascial tissues, or what I also call unwinding. And in this practice, I'm specifying beginning with a yoga asana posture. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'd really like to help encourage yoga practitioners to begin finding an inquiry or a sensing practice that really starts from the inside out. And that is about tracking your body's impulses or sensations while you're in movement and following those. It's less about finding and holding a shape, it's less about following specific alignment cues, and it's all about really being in the presence of the moment and being in the process unfolding as you listen into and tune your body. So let's get started. So anything that I offer here today is simply an invitation. My greatest interest is that my cues are helping to guide you into your sensory system so that you can follow the impulses that are coming forward in the moment. Let's begin with a short moment of quiet, bringing your body into stillness. And even as I invite my body into stillness and finding a place of quiet, there's a little bit of rock going on through my legs. This could be in any position. You could do this standing or in a different seated position. So even this is a process of really listening to how your body comes or arrives to a place of stilling. Eyes opened or eyes closed, you choosing what's best for you in the moment. And I invite you to sense into any aspect of ground that you're noticing through your own body. So for me, it's the whole length of my lower leg, tops of my feet. Then I also feel my butt on my heels and my hands on my thighs. So that's also a sort of ground. And even by bringing mindful attention there, my breathing has already changed. I had a shift in the dynamic of my inhale. And allowing the whole of your body then to kind of move down and through the weighted, grounded sense of what's beneath you, floor, beneath floor, down into earth. Allowing that visualization of connection or rootedness into earth to take its creative process as it will in this moment. And then there's this wonderful support coming back up through me as I connect down into ground and earth mother. And there's a slight kind of buoyancy that I receive by being in this inquiry and coming into the embodiment of what it is to be here with gravity, ground, space. Now for this video, I'm going to choose low lunge and I'm going to come into like a 90-90 position to begin here. And my knee and heel are not in the same path here. So I'm allowing that to be kind of a wide stance, if you will, to give my pelvis room to move, give my hips room to fold and unfold. And I'm noticing my front foot, the connection through the ground now, through the whole foot, through toes, inner, outer foot, heel. And I'm going to kind of see about evenly distributing weight through the whole of my foot as I begin to rock back and forth, front leg, back leg. And I'm noticing this longer foot of my back leg, which is really the whole length of my shin and down the front of my foot. If you need to tuck your back toes under, that's fine too, or if that just gives you more stability, then go for that. And so it's from this yielding or this recognition of the groundedness through these places of your body that then you can begin to push from. I can push the floor away from my front foot. I can push the floor away from my back leg. And I begin to then have this rocking back and forth. So here's this first moment of noticing how force travels through you. So from this push, movement occurs. And we have this relationship back and forth between our two legs. Now in this, you might begin to notice the movement of your hip fold. So I might start with my front hip. Okay, so this can be a little bit of a mobility inquiry, like how much range do I have in this hip? Now at any point, you could add in a rotation of your upper body. You could change the relationship of your lower, your back leg and your front leg. I'm beginning to connect my elbow into my leg, feeling more of a tail reach here. And this is all just from getting curious about the folding and unfolding of my front hip. I'm beginning to notice some stretch sensations now, expanding sensations through the back leg, through the back of my front leg, rather. And I'm going to start noticing the movement of my back hip. So it's more this kind of like opening place, right? So hip extension, but I could also play with more fold. Again, if I pitch my spine forward a little bit, or you keep your shoulders right on top. Again, rotating through torso, pelvis, if you'd like. So it's really exploring the motion you have in the center of your body through pelvic tilts and also the folding and unfolding of your hips. Okay, now I'm going to begin moving forward into lunge. I'm going to start tuning back into this kind of sensation and or expansion feeling. Got this through the back hip. Feeling that a little bit through the back thigh, like hamstring area. But here's the thing, as you start to allow your weight to be received forward into your front foot, can you also keep the push support at the same time, right? So it's not a kind of a collapse into this front leg, but I'm moving forward and I'm also pushing back into my system. And next thing I'm going to do is place my hands down on the floor as I deepen into this expression. See what's present for you. I'm lifting my back knee up now. Now here's where we can start to do some unwinding. So I'm noticing sensations through my back thigh. If I pause into that first kind of 10-20% of sensation, notice where the push support from the ground is occurring. So now it's through both my hands and my foot, front foot. Start to follow what my body would like. And it's essentially following this constellation of sensation through your tissues. Now, there could be that stretchy expansion kind of quality, or you might feel some stiffening because of this pushing that you're doing back through your system. You might find yourself in a completely different posture, completely different position, as you notice how these forces move through now, not only your legs, but maybe they've come through your pelvis. I have some information in my spine now, following this through my neck. So there's multiple kinds of muscle contractions happening here. And that's one thing that I'd really like to invite you to kind of tune into as you're moving through unwinding. So this is not a collapsed state. This is a very attentive and active process of exploring sensations through your global body. And then usually a phrase occurs, meaning a phrase of movement, and then my body feels complete with that. I'm just going to reset back to where I started. Okay, so what if we were to go backwards? So I could take my tail back, exploring that fold here in my back hip, and begin to put some stress through for me, it's the back of the front leg. I'm gonna really ground my heel down, actively pull my toes back towards my face. So I can start to explore some ankle mobility here as I do that. And my foot might want to move in and out, like right now. My toes just pointed towards my mid-volume. I'm getting some sensation around the outer ankle. That's great for me. I might pull the toes all the way back and begin to fold and unfold the knee. Might want to bring your spine in, rolling your spine forward. And I'm just giving all of these different suggestions of possible ways you can move to get feedback. Because once you get the feedback and then start following that feedback or the force distribution through your body, that's where that unwinding practice really begins. So right now, for example, I'm really liking, it feels good, the sensation that I have through my front leg, outer hip. So I found a position where I can kind of rest into that in a way. Now I still have the push through my hands, my foot, but I am yielding now through my back leg. And then if I just give it a moment, right? If I get patient here, the information, the sensation will change all on its own, as our fascial tissues are soft matter. Our body is soft matter. And so as we bring attention into our body, as we give sufficient time in the stress or the experience of shifting or changing, then we have the shifting or changing of our tissue's quality too, and something new arises. So again, I find myself in a different position. So there's this kind of simple recipe that you can follow too, which is move to get feedback, then move into what feels good, take a pause, yield into it, notice where the support is. Be patient, listen, and then see what impulses arise from there. And then follow that constellation of sensation and watch it move through you. You just keep doing that over and over again. Move, get feedback, pause, yield, listen, follow your impulses, see what movement phrase unfolds. And for me, there's a finish of that movement phrase. In somatic practice, we talk about augmented rest, which is essentially coming back to that moment of stilling and finding quiet in between phrases. Allows for that sensory integration in your brain. And also, again, this shifting of our tissue's quality, right? This kind of like time-dependent nature, giving rest to allow that new, fluid flow, uptake, whatever is happening there physiologically, right? Giving a chance to kind of recalibrate to its next place. I'm going to just stay with this same leg. There's just so many different kinds of, so many different ways to play here. So we went through kind of low lunge, right? We went through here what I call monkey. Yeah. If we go back into low lunge, maybe picking up that back leg. I'll choose this option here. So getting on your back toes, and you can establish this push play between 2 feet again. And then pausing somewhere that feels pleasurable or interesting. So I'm actually going to pause as my heel's going towards the floor behind me. And then as I do that, I begin to follow my body's impulses. And I'm finding myself now bringing an arm in. And here, then we can talk about when your arms start to come in, exploring active reach out of this rootedness. So from this push support that you have from the ground. Now you could think about reaching other body areas too. So I could be reaching through this top hip. I'm really finding a strong reach through space, through my arm now. And then through this long myofascial pathway that I've established from each foot through my center body, out my arm, I begin to play with some rotational or helical type movements here. And then I'm finding myself returning to a similar place of where we started. All right, one more here, just in order also to keep this video on a little bit shorter side. Essentially, I just wanted to give some inspiration and a few ingredients so that you could begin playing with unwinding in your postures. Could pop back up on feet again and bring arms up. And then what's possible here? To begin moving through the same recipe. And then there can be a moment where you really let all of the details go of anything that I've said and allow your body and breath and sensory feedback and connection to earth and space become this dance of relationships. A true arrival into presence. And then whenever you're finished with that particular phrasing, allow that to close. I invite you to either come back to the place of stilling that you had before we came together in this video practice, or to bring your body all the way into the ground, lying on the floor. And after you're done watching this, you might decide you want to go into the other side. Or perhaps this information and experience you just had really lends itself well to now coming into a deep active rest, yielding really with the full support of earth as you let your body merge in to these in-between spaces. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, for this short exploration, sensing into fascia. I'd love to know what your experience is like, and you can leave those in the comments below the video. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss any videos from me, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Love moving with you. Ciao, everyone.